Hello, it's DBJ, and it's a Writer's Room Wednesday. Normally, I take this time to basically talk all things me, what it is, who I am, what I do, how I write, such and such. But I really have to go back to the video I did yesterday on a Tips and Tricks Tuesday to shout out a bunch of people that responded and kind of to apologize a little bit as well. Um, so if you're tuning in or you tune into this video, please bear with me. I think it's far more important for me to respond to the brilliant and positive energy that it was given to me by those who responded to my video. Without them, I, you know, I just wouldn't be me. Um, so I wanted to talk about the video that I did yesterday. First of all, the quality of the video um, absolutely sucks. Right? It was terrible. Um, Absolutely, positively the worst. I just rambled on. I didn't have any ideas. Um, I rambled on far more than my normal rambling, which is saying something. And but I don't edit myself. I wanted to leave the video up, and I want to, in a way, I wanted to use that video as an example of if you were even thinking about doing something, whether it's being an online content creator, making videos or a podcast, or like writing or being creative in some way, shape, or form. I hate to tell you this, but at some point, whatever you're going to do, it's going to suck. It is not going to turn out good. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to want to wait until it's absolutely perfect, and that's not a good thing. Um, Put out your worst. Let people see you with terrible lighting, a scar on your face, um, no subject material, um, stumbling over your words. Like, don't be afraid of that. Don't be paralyzed by inactivity because you just want to get everything right. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do those things. I'm saying that there are going to be times when you can't do those things. Um, Yesterday was a prime example of me waking up, about to do a live stream, and I got nothing. And I want people to see that. I'm not going to delete the video. I don't edit my videos. I just get on and I talk. So that's the first thing. Leaving it out there, let people see it for what it is. Let them make their choices, that kind of thing. All right, but secondly, although very important, I need to shout out a few people that responded to the video. Um, uh, Specifically, Dorian Stretton or Straighten, Narlson New, um, Narth Darkanen, I'm gonna pronounce these right, and FinFan7, all responded to the video where towards the end of it, I talked about inclusion in role-playing games. And for some strange reason, it's a very volatile, trigger-worthy subject today. But all of their comments listening to that video are well-formed, uh, brilliant, open-minded. Whether someone agrees or disagrees, that to me, that's not, I don't want people to necessarily have to agree with me, but whatever your point of contention is, just be reasonable, do it intelligently, don't call out names. And those people, FinFan7, Narth Darkanen, Narson New, and Dorian Stretton, all absolutely posed exactly how they felt about it, what they saw in the video, which I'm sure as hell I'm surprised that they made it through towards the second half. I really have to say thank you very much for that. I really appreciate people who are thoughtful in their expression, and we need our hobby is a niche hobby as it is. We don't need divisions in our hobby at all. We don't need that kind of crap. All right. So on this Writers Room Wednesday, I'm going to basically do a small overview of who I am, what it is that I do, that kind of thing for those who don't know. Because in my videos, I often talk about myself as the self-appointed third pillarist. And um, I would say I am a self-appointed environmentalist, but that's not exactly what I do. A third pillarist, because I've self-appointed myself, um, is a person who is involved in the third pillar of gaming. And um, I got into the third pillar of gaming due to the fact that it was like superhero role-playing games. I used to play them back in the 80s. Face Rip, Marvel superheroes. For those who don't know, Face Rip stands for the attributes in Marvel, the old Marvel superheroes game, which was fighting, agility, strength, endurance, reason, intuition, and psyche. That was Face Rip. Anyway, little trivia there. So I used to play that in Mayfair's DC Heroes with the AP system, where each AP in the game was twice the one that was before it. So a person with a strength of 2 could lift like 200 pounds, and Superman had a strength of 25. So you do the math. If you double it, so a strength of 3 is 400 pounds, strength of 4 is 800 pounds, strength of 5 is 1600 pounds, and you keep going. So anyway, um, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So third pillaring. A third pillarist uses that third pillar of gaming. The first pillar is combat, second pillar is social interaction, third pillar is exploration. And more specifically, I love movies. I love stunt work. I love really um, strange and dynamic and bold and dramatic stunt things. Uh, Stunts on the tops of cars while people jump from car to truck to 18-wheeler back to the cars again, fighting on the side, hanging off the side of skyscrapers and ropes and things, fighting as knights in the rain on a slick muddy hill, or traveling through the desert and kicking the sand orcs as they fall down the sand dunes, and the scorpions are hiding under the sand, and the player characters have to run for it, or they're running through the Arizona desert, and they're climbing up plateaus to get away from um, the land sharks that patrol the area and things like that. So it's using the environment. How do you overlay the environment? So um, I am 47, and I've been gaming for well over 30 years. So I was born, so I got into gaming probably when I was like 7 or 8, and was introduced to it by a teacher on Fridays from a little thing called Creative Dramatics, and then I never looked back. My reading aptitude wasn't very good. Got my first basic, I think it was a purple box set of basic Dungeons and Dragons from my parents. And then I think my reading score went from like grade school to college level in a year, probably less than. Had a dictionary next to me, and then I just never looked back. Anything I wanted to learn, I looked it up, and then my mom would just, hey, you want to know what it means? Look it up in the dictionary. And then I would literally like page, flip, read, don't understand, open a dictionary. What does that mean? Boom, go back to reading. And I was able to escape in my own mind, introduced it to my friends, met a young guy that carried a backpack full of books, never understood why, found out in his backpack were Dungeons and Dragons books, and played second edition or advanced Dungeons and Dragons for a ton of years, 8, 9 years, 10 years, something like that, maybe even longer. So anyway, um, but since then, with the superhero gaming, my fellow gamers would kill off all of my bad guys. So I had to come up with something more dynamic to use, and so I started using the environment and lots of saving people out of burning buildings, saving people during earthquakes, car wrecks on highways, bridge collapses, forest fires, flooded streets, you name it, I did it. And it was kind of my way to force the PCs to not all be like the Wolverines and the Deadpools and the Punishers of the world and start saving people. And then it allowed me to put them in, in a lot of danger and things like that. So if they're saving people off of a collapsed bridge and then a car rolls out of control, and then they have to dodge out of the way of the vehicle, but do they hold on to the three people they're saving who are dangling off the bridge? If you do, you're going to be at some kind of disadvantage, or you have a penalty. But if you let them go, you can jump out the way. What are you going to do? That kind of thing. So yeah, lots of that. So, but what I'm doing now is I'm a contributing writer to Critical Hit Publishing. And before I joined Critical Hit has always been around, and I purchased a couple of products from them. I will hold them up so you can see them. One of them is called Gothnag's Cantrips. This book is nothing but a laundry list and details on nothing but cantrips for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Let's see if we get the reflection out of there. And all the links will be below. You can get these in PDF and Dead Tree form on Drive-Thru RPG. But let's see if here's a list, spell list of, it's probably all backwards and stuff. But anyway, spell list of all the cantrips in the book. Very, very cool, very cool, very cool. So, yep, boom, 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 boom. If you want a low magic setting and you just want nothing more powerful than using a cantrip, get this book, because that's what I got. So then my second purchase from them is Gothnag's Critical Hits. This one is literally what it means. It's critical hits from Critical Hit. And it is literally a couple of pages long, and critical hit charts, some of it pretty damn nasty. Fumble charts, critical hit charts. Anyway, boom. What else did I get? Thick book. Potions and Poisons. So Gothnag's Notorious Potions and Poisons. Let's see if you can see how thick this is. It's all about, of course, every single form of potions, poisons, how they are ingested. For example, you've got like blood, bodily fluids, contact, inhaled, ingested, the time it takes to create them. And of course, you have to have a laundry list of more of the mundane potions and poisons and salves and things. And then you have to go on to your more magical potions. Long list right here. All right. And you flip over to poisons. Nothing but a long list of poisons, their types, their effects, their costs, all that kind of stuff, toxicity and everything like that. So got those. But at this point, I hadn't joined Critical Hit Publishing. So got online, start communicating with a bunch of people. I was very active and am very active in the RPG Brigade, although not so much as I used to be. Absolute tabletop I am. The 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons Facebook group, which is a ton of people. There's a lot of smoke and mist and chaos over there. And of course, Critical Hit Publishing as well. In their Facebook group, and got to talking to Alex and Rob, kind of introduced myself, came up with this idea of doing the cinematic environs. And that's where I come in as a third pillarist. So I was trying to describe something that was missing. Um, a combination of traps, layers, puzzles, the environment, and combining it all together into one thing, an overlay in your gaming, basically. Not necessarily maps, not necessarily maps of anything, but I want my players to fight in the wilderness. What can I use in the wilderness? Well, and then I start listing a ton of things and then giving little details so you can use those as you wish. And so the project started um, with this cinematic environment, and that's me there, and it's Arctic Lands, and this was the first release. And Arctic Lands details things, everything from handling frozen potions to in Arctic conditions such as despair and razor ice storms, creating tracks in the snow, noisiness, frostbite, all those kind of things. And it starts out that way. And then as the book goes on, we have ourselves a page or two of Arctic hazards, everything from like uh, avalanches to uh, there we go, blizzards and ice cliffs and things like that, and a ton of notes on the bottom, including the infamous. Let's see if we can fit it in here. The infamous fumble crit thing for some strange things to happen to you if you fumble, or to happen to other people if you crit. Right? Frozen lakes, raging rivers, blah blah blah, including new backgrounds, new equipment, all those kind of things. So you've got a new background, the Arctic Born. We have ourselves some new equipment, blah blah blah. So that was the first release. I'm not going to go into detail on the other ones, but the second release, there we go, and that's Desert Waste again, detailing everything from sandstorms to quicksand, the salt flats, to um, everything new background in there called the Desert Nomad. Um, boom. Uh, this one was primarily written through Alex, Captain Gothnog, and Mountains. Um, Excellent book on everything from cliffs, climbing, using the difference between free climbing and rappelling, using ropes and such, tying off ropes, using your ability to climb to help other people. Um, Everything from raw caves, raw cave features to chasms, um, uh, cantilevered cliff faces. So when you're dangling, you're actually dangling over open air. You're not against rock faces, and how to handle that. Storms, high winds, all those things. And of course, there's the mountaineer background, equipment, and some magic. And broke off. I don't know why I had this this idea, but I wanted to see if I could stretch the cinematic environs to another place. So this one is called Aerial Reaches, and if you want to use the environment and you have floating islands, airships, um, even in Spelljammer or something like that, this is it. This is what you were looking for. Kind of thick there. You can kind of see everything from Ethernet storms to using aerial stunts and obstacles, how to do a chase, sky pirates. This is one of my fun ones. You having sky pirates chase each other, and a giant size fumble crit table right here for all of your strange and bizarre and fighting needs. Everything from victim's leg gets tangled in rails and snaps, inflicting 1d4 points of constitution damage and a broken leg. It's useless until set and healed. To a passing rope ensnares the victim's hand and yanks them into the air. They are restrained until they cut loose. Um, Weapon flies out of hand and into the great beyond. Victim's weapon is knocked loose and slides across the deck. Um, Victim is knocked down and is sliding towards the edge of the deck where only the open sky awaits. Blah blah blah. All those kind of things. Etherite belts, kind of like let's see, let me show a picture here. Etherite belts, kind of like Windborne is one portion and the Skyrider is the other portion. Um, the the Windborne use mounts and fly, and then the Skyrider uses contraptions to fly through the air, whether it's like Da Vinci style things. Um, Another thick book. This one came about using the aquatic depths. Everything in here from um, handling spells and damage sources, using just rivers and streams and how to hold your breath, how to measure lung capacity versus swimming endurance, aquatic, very easy aquatic encounters table for intelligent creatures. Um, Lots of great art here. Ooh, look at her. Photographic style art, aquatic encounters and hazards, everything from like here we go, coral reefs, all the way to despair and dead calm seas, flooded chambers and fog, ice flows. You want to have a fight on a frozen lake or ice flow, everything you need for that, just open up the book, go to it, even handy fumble crit there, just in case you smack somebody with a hammer on top of the head and knock them through the ice. Um, Raging rivers, great. Tsunamis and flash floods. There's a picture of a raging river right there. All the things that you need. And of course, we have ourselves a new background, the Mariner, and new equipment, new creatures. Like in each section, we do have like, there we go, new equipment, giant sized creature. Don't fight the whales. They're nice. They're neutral good. Um, and this one ends with a ton of random aquatic encounters. Not necessarily combat, but things that you might encounter there. So we also have a book survival. And this one was it's got my name on it, but it was written primarily by Captain Gothnog, Alex, and Rob. And this one is survival. I wrote down a ton of notes on using survival, how to have survival. If you are a grognard and you really want to engage in um, survival in fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons without hand waving it away with like create food and water or Leomund's tiny hut, you really want to count resources and make overland travel feel epic. You really want to get this survival basics, this book, and 64, 65 pages of survival goodness, everything from random weather tables and their effects on the environment and your player characters to using mounts, whole 2-page spread on using beasts and vehicles, taking care of them, using your medicine skill or animal handling skill. The elements, each section is divided by the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. We even have descriptions on how to light a fire, some examples of creating shelters, creating a fire pit for a hole. It's pretty good stuff here. Here we go. Using a storm shelter, like an igloo style shelters, all those kind of things. And then we have these breakout boxes that go into the game mechanics. So you have your flavor, your game mechanics. In here, we even have sample rations. So we have like dwarven rations and elven rations and um, um, dragonborn rations, goblinoid rations. Here we go, goblinoid rations. Let's go with worm-filled hearts. Earthworms are stuffed into a heart, which is then boiled for several hours. It is as disgusting as it sounds. Um, let's go to dragonborn rations. Potto ants. This wooden box is in fact a portable ant colony. It is maintained by tossing in some organic matter from time to time. The dragonborn will use either their forked tongue or a small stick to snatch ants out. Dwarven rashes, beard battered blind fish. This has been described by humans as snake guts covered in hardtack, and for good reason. The blindfish is perhaps one of the most disgusting creatures ever eaten, which is why the dwarves soak them in whiskey for several weeks. Cover them in beer batter, then deep fry them in boar grease. Most dwarves pretend to like it, but it mostly started as a dare to make the worst trail food ever. So, a bunch of fun stuff there. Um, and then two D100 tables for encounters, whether you're camping or traveling. Again, thick ass book. And we end it with, not end it, but the last release that we have here, Cinematic Environs, is Blasted Lands, all things volcanic. Everything from blasted land conditions from severe heat and earthquakes to things like acrid water. Um, some of it eats flesh, some eats materials such as metal or stone. Um, just handy fumble crit table there. Lava flows, pyroclastic flows. Of course, we have our Ashen Walker as a new background. And in survival, we have there is a new background, of course, that we put into each of the cinematic environs books. And where are you? There we go. It is the survival guide. All the details, all the backgrounds can be used to create NPCs. Um, there's a ton of resources here if you're into survival, so you can read those books yourself. So that's an overview of what I helped write for Cinematic Environs. The Cinematic Environs series. You take a look at the side. Pretty thick thing here. Started out thin and just started expanding more and more and more. So anyway, I'm DBJ. This is the writer's room. Just wanted to talk about, for those who don't know, all the links will link will be below to go to Drive Through RPG and maybe some reviews that people have done online for those books. But yeah, Writer's Room Wednesday is really my chance to talk about me and what I'm doing, and to let people know what it is that I do and where I'm coming from. Again, thanks guys for responding to a video that I didn't think was very much quality. So Dorian Stretton, Gnarlston New, Narth Darkanen, and FinFan7, as well as a ton of others. Owen Wild, RP Gamer, Grimchild, Carol D, of course. Love Carol D, grandmother of RPG, of Dave Sims. Everybody who just responds with positivity, with intelligence. We are ourselves a brilliant group of people. We need to support each other in our role-playing community, if for no other reason, just to say hello to everybody, to spark some new ideas and creative energy, positive energy. No, we don't need to be best friends with 2,000 people, but just to know that there's somebody out there who delves into the online cinematic world of role-playing games. It's just a great community to be part of. Let's punch evil in the face with our goodness. So anyway, I'm DBJ. This is Writers Room Wednesday. Thanks for checking it out. And you know what? If not, don't worry about it. There's links below. I just have to say thank you very much. So anyway, DBJ, gotta go to work. Sorry, guys. I'm out.